I only put them ice cubes in there about 2 minutes ago. They've already gone. Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news. I hope you're all doing very well this evening. It's hot and we've got lots to talk about. We're going to be talking about Paul Pogba to start off. This is big news for Manchester United fans. Whether it's good news or not, it's big news, that's for sure. We're going to be talking about Paul Pogba, updates on Camavinga from two different sources, including the Rennes president. We've also got updates on Bruno Fernandes' contract, updates on Rabiot and also Varane. There has been further updates there as well. So lots to get into, and we'll take some of your questions tonight. And of course, if you didn't see it this afternoon, I was live with Fabrizio Romano on the show again. Masses of updates there. So lots to get you in updated with today at the start of the week of what could be a big week. Maybe Sancho will officially sign at some point, and certainly I think we're going to see some developments with Varane, hopefully. So could be an exciting week. Updates on Lingard, says it's your boy Dan. I think I'm hopeful that he'll still leave, and I know that sounds rude, but I'm hopefully he'll still leave. We'll talk about that in a bit. Half-Blood Prince, welcome to the members club, like the film. Anyway, let's get on with it. Paul Pogba. This update is something you may not have seen today. This is coming from two separate sources, but the first one I'm going to mention is The Athletic. Returning to Paris is not thought to appeal to Paul Pogba at present. It is expected that contract renewal discussions with Manchester United will continue into the new season, as sources close to Paul Pogba believe he's open to staying, but he wants to survey the scene first. Also, I saw, I think it was Mark Ogden from ESPN were also saying as well that it is likely that Paul Pogba will run down his contract. So let's start off talking about Paul Pogba. I sort of picked this up from Romano on the show last week, and I think he sort of gave that hint away again today, that there's a big possibility that Paul Pogba will be at United next season. And because of that possibility, you have to say there's an opportunity that he might sign a new contract. Welcome to the members club, Ivan Baran, as well. So I think the situation is that PSG are the only team that can get Pogba. I said this a few weeks ago. Juventus can't afford him. Real Madrid can't afford him. Barcelona definitely can't afford him. I mean, Everton could afford him more than Barcelona. So there's not many options for Paul Pogba available. And on top of that, if he waits a year, he's out of contract. He's a multi-millionaire because no one's got to pay his transfer fee, and he can go anywhere. In a year's time, he could go to Man City. He could go Chelsea. He can go Juventus. He can go Bayern Munich. He can go PSG, Juventus again if he wants. Real Madrid, Bayern Munich. He can go anywhere. Barcelona. So anywhere he wants to go in a year's time, he can go. I said at the start of the summer window, I said I think he'll run his contract down, because why wouldn't he run his contract down? And I think this is what's going to happen. So from a United point of view, we could be in a situation next season where we've got Paul Pogba, Rafael Varane and Jadon Sancho. And that's a very exciting start to the season considering what we've already got. But I do think it will be a one-year wonder unless something amazing happens. I don't think we will see Paul Pogba at United the season after this. I think he will run his contract down. But I think United are going to take that risk because they think they can change his mind. And I think Pogba is just going to play the game and say, look, I'm in discussions with United. Let's see what happens. I just want to see what happens. You know, I'm happy here. I'm professional, which he will be. And ultimately, I think he really wants to see what the offers are next year. Because to be honest with you, I bet Paul Pogba and Mino Raiola wish this summer was next summer, where they've got no contract with United. They could sign a new contract with United, but they can basically sign a contract with absolutely everybody else. So I think for me, this is an interesting one. It's a positive that Paul Pogba will stay. But obviously we're not going to get the definitive answer that I think the club should have got. But I think that comes down to the club. Paul Pogba doesn't need to sign a contract now. If he's thinking of signing a new contract with United, he may as well wait until he sees what contracts are on offer in a year's time. And I think we will be in a situation next April where we still are hoping that Pogba's going to sign a new contract with United. And I think ultimately next summer he will leave. But I think he will be here for next season, and I've always said that. I would have been surprised, and it's interesting that the Athletic are saying that Pogba doesn't fancy a move to PSG at the moment. And I think he's right not to fancy a move to PSG at the moment, because I think at 28 years of age, Paul Pogba shouldn't be going to the French league to retire. I know Neymar's done it, but what's good for Neymar isn't necessarily good for Pogba. I think he's better than that league. He's played in the Premier League, he's played in Serie A, and I think he wants to play in La Liga. And I think La Liga is probably where Pogba will end up next summer, which might help us in a different way. We'll see. Evening, mate. After Varane, do you think we will see one or two go out before you see anyone else come in, says Joshua Bowerwater? Well, we can talk about that in a little bit. I think if Pogba stays, that's got to be evidence again that, from that long list of players, we've got 10 players who can play in the 3 positions that Jesse Lingard can play in. If Pogba's staying, you've got to move Jesse on, because it's another player that can play left wing, because we've played him there, and number 10. So, yeah, we've got to. Mark, do we need another Riola Champions League night announcement? United are being used, says Peter Hare. And Ndidi or a specialist DM is the number 1 priority, says Carts. And just before I move on from Paul Pogba, if you are tuning in a little bit late, Romano sort of hinted at it. The Athletic are saying it. ESPN is saying it. I've been saying it for a long time. Don't put me in with them lot. But what I'm saying is I think anybody can say this. It's very obvious to me that the most likely outcome is that Paul Pogba stays at United one more year, and then next year him and Riola have a big party and make themselves a lot of money because he's out of contract. Just like Mbappe will next summer, and just like some other players will. So I think Pogba will stay at United for another year. It's an unstable relationship, that is. I think Pogba will be fine playing for us up until Christmas. And then after Christmas, he might start thinking, do I fancy that 50-50 tackle now? Is my mind on the job now? Because remember, in January, he can speak to anybody outside of England. And I don't think he'll be staying in England anyway. So basically, in 5 months' time, Paul Pogba can start negotiating contracts with Real Madrid, with PSG, with Barcelona, with Bayern Munich, with Juventus. So I think the first few months of the season will be fine. I think this will come to a head, like somebody just said there. I think it was Peter Hare said, are we going to get another Champions League issue with Riola? Well, I think in December it might happen again. But what are you supposed to do? In fairness, what are you supposed to do? It's all right saying United don't want to sell Pogba. What if Pogba doesn't want to? What if Pogba doesn't want to be sold? So what are United supposed to do? I think they've handled this situation badly already. But if Pogba's never been open to signing a new contract and he was always going to run it down, United are the weak link in this. And I said this before as well. At the moment, Paul Pogba and Mino Raiola are in a more powerful position than Manchester United, and they can say what's going to happen. So we'll see what happens. But I think in another way, it doesn't provide us with any resolution. I agree, but it does mean that we pretty much know that we're going to go into the start of the season relatively settled, in the sense that let's get Sancho done, let's get Varane in, let's get everybody back, and let's go for it this season. And Pogba will be part of that go for it, even if it's just for one more year. Sell him or play him in the reserves until he signs a contract at the same wage if he wants to play a game. No need to bend over for Pogba or his greedy agent, says Savash. And I understand that there will be people who think of it like that, of course. That's absolutely fine. Some people would be looking to move him on, but I think Paul Pogba has got the position of power, certainly. And I've just frozen my camera, which was always good to do. I will sort that out, don't worry. But yeah, Paul Pogba has got the position of power there, and I think that United will just have to wait and see what Paul Pogba wants to do. It shows how badly Iran, our club, is that 2 of our 3 signings last summer are possibly up for sale. Van der Beek and Telles. Well, yeah, you shouldn't lose thought of that, Ramnish. Yeah. Mark, is it true from next season there will be a limit for how much agent demand in transfers? Says Pierre Klassen. I wish it was true, but I've not heard anything about that, so I don't know. Let me talk to you about Camavinga though, because I still think that Manchester United, as Romano said this afternoon, are considering Camavinga. Gary Turner says, correct me if I'm wrong, but are UEFA not capping agent fees to 3% from next year? Well, that's the second person to say that. So hopefully there is something in that. That would be very good. I hope there is something in that, Gary. I hope there is. But 2 updates on Camavinga involving Manchester United. First one from the Rennes president, who has said that anything is possible in relation to Camavinga over the next few weeks. He could end up staying, but he could end up leaving. So an openness from that. And then the Athletic saying that Manchester United are very patient about the Camavinga situation, and they are willing to wait until the end of the transfer window to do a deal if that's what happens, because they are very much monitoring the situation. I suppose that says to me, and it's interesting there because Malp says the Camavinga deal is passed. Jacob says, I'm now getting the feeling that the rumours linking Camavinga to other teams is to worry United to make a higher bid. Let's hope he wants to come to us, says Jacob. What I would say about Camavinga, though, and maybe there's a little bit of a hint if that situation is true, in the sense that if we are willing to wait until the back end of the transfer window to sign Camavinga, is that not a gamble, considering we'll have played 3 Premier League games by then? And if Camavinga is really seen as a solution to our centre defensive midfield problem, would you not want that solution to be in there from game one? So this, to me, maybe hints at what some people were saying about Camavinga anyway a couple of weeks ago when we were strongly linked to him, that he is an 18-year-old for the future and that, you know, Solskjaer and United want him, but they don't see him as coming straight into the team to dislodge a Fred or a McTominay. Because if we did, why would we not go and do that deal? If United are patient about Camavinga, it doesn't show an urgency, and that's a bad thing on 2 levels. For one, it means that we might not do the deal, and for 2, he's not seen as essential to the plans for next season, which is a bit of a shame, because I think, as I said, and I'll keep saying it, CDM is the priority position, and I think if we don't get one, then that is that is not a good transfer window. But it feels to me like we're trying to bring a midfielder in that's not even going to be a first teamer anyway. With so many players up for moves next summer, Mbappe, Haaland, Ronaldo, Kane, and COVID still being around, not sure if bigger clubs can afford them all, says Paraz. Yeah, but I think that's why a lot of them want people to run their contracts down, because they want to get them for cheap and not pay transfer fees. We need a CDM badly, says Illa United. I agree. Ollie loves McFred. I agree. Epi. And Camavinga is better than both those players, says Drisk Crawford. Well, I said it today. I mean, I just happened to look on social media this afternoon after the Romano interview, and I saw that Basuma was trending. And the reason Basuma is trending is because Locatelli is going to go to Juventus, as I always predicted. And Arsenal went hard for Locatelli. They tried to get him, but very hard to get Italian players. I mean, we've been linked to Tonali and Barella. Both of them moved to other Italian clubs. Very difficult to get good young Italian players to leave Serie A. I mean, I think Verratti is one of the few that's ever done it. So I think that I think that with Locatelli going to Juventus, the reason Basuma was trending is because there'll be a lot of Arsenal fans going, didn't want Locatelli anyway, Basuma's better, which is a load of nonsense, but Basuma is a good player. And I said it, you know, I don't really understand why Manchester United are not looking at Basuma, because people will say, well, Basuma's not a CDM. Hold on, hello, McTominay and Fred are definitely not CDMs. Basuma's more of a CDM than them two, and he's also better than both of those players. So I don't know why United are not looking at Basuma, especially when Brighton like Garner. Why are we not on the phone or on email to Brighton saying, you can have Garner, we'd like Basuma? I don't get why United have not looked at Basuma. I mean, look, I'm not saying I know better than the coaching staff at United, or you know better than the coaching staff at United, but I wouldn't say you don't know a lot of things. And I've seen Basuma play quite regularly over the last 18 months, and he's better than Fred. He's better than McTominay. And if he goes to Arsenal, he'll be a good signing. I don't know why we're not looking at him. I don't know why he doesn't fit the profile. 24, 25, Premier League proven, can play the ball under pressure, he's resistant to the press, he's good in the tackle, he's energetic. I don't know why we're not looking at Basuma. I really don't, because I think, and that worries me as well, I think we're not looking at Basuma because we're not looking for a player to instantly dislodge McTominay and Fred. We're looking at a young player like Camavinga that comes in and, you know, has to learn his ropes and take his time, etc. Mark, Manchester United are saying fans pushing Camavinga. I would have took him over McFred, says Peter Hare. Well, I don't necessarily believe Manchester Evening News over people that are probably a lot closer to this deal than they are. Manchester Evening News are credible. They definitely are. But the only reason I ever give them any credibility is because I know they get they get information from the club. But the information from the club depends what that information is. When they say they've got a source from the club telling them that United are talking to Pochettino, I'll take notice of it. When Manchester Evening News are saying, you know, Camavinga's just fan talk, I think, well, that's United trying to calm the noise on this one. But I'll listen to more credible sources across Europe who are saying that United are interested in him. And I think they are interested in him. But it might only be Interested FC, Monitoring FC. As I said, for me, Camavinga to United resides around sort of 30% club, nothing higher. Shane Cunningham says, would you try and sell Pogba to Madrid for 50 to 60 million if they have it, and use that 30 to 40 we're willing to spend on CDM and buy Rice, or too crazy because not worth it, says Shane Cunningham. I don't think, I think we need to accept we're not going to get any money for Paul Pogba. I think this summer is about pulling the wool over your eyes. This is about, oh, look at what we've done with Sancho. Look at what we've done with Varane. We're a great set of owners. And then not even below the surface of that, you'll see Pogba walk out the door for nothing. You'll see Deadwood staying at the club. You'll see, other mistakes made. So I'm not blind to the facts. I'm blinded by the lights. I'm not blinded by the lights of Varane and Sancho, because they are blinding signings. They're brilliant. But I also am aware that we are probably going to lose Paul Pogba for absolutely nothing, having paid him a lot of money over the last 5 years and paid £90 million for him. We're going to lose him for nothing, and we're going to be looking at it after 6 years and saying, did we get our money's worth out of Paul Pogba? And the answer is no, unless we go on a madness next season. We don't need more average players, says LOL, but I don't know who you're talking about as average. And Weekend Bridge, Najib, everybody. Well, it's not the weekend, so I'm not going to do that. So yeah, Camavinga is still very much up for grabs. Rennes president saying that himself as well. But the Athletic saying that Manchester United are going to be patient on this one and could wait as long as the end of the transfer window, which I think will happen with Trippier as well. Welcome to the Members Club, Paras. If you want to become a member like Susan, Brandon and Paras, you can see their badges next to their name. Those badges change after every month. And welcome, and thank you for supporting the channel. So we've spoken about Pogba. We've spoken about Camavinga. Let me just give you an update on Varane. I mean, look, I say update. It's just other outlets regurgitating, finding new angles. And I'll tell you what, these outlets, they're finding more angles than a geometry class, because the same story really resides underneath all of it, and that is this. We didn't have Rafael Varane on. We had Fabrizio Romano on this afternoon. You can check that interview out on the homepage. But where we are with the only thing that's come out in the last few hours that's new around Rafael Varane is respect. I think it was Romano said, respect. Varane will be respectful of Real Madrid. And what that means is the way that Sancho was respectful to Borussia Dortmund, and Harry Maguire was respectful to Leicester City, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka was respectful to Crystal Palace, and Bruno Fernandes was respectful to Sporting Lisbon, and it goes on and on. What respect means is they're not going to hand in a public transfer request. They want this to be done with respect. And that's what happened with Bruno and Sancho and all the other players I just listed there. So basically, what Varane wants is a move. And to get that move, United have got to agree a fee with Real Madrid. And Varane is not going to push that move in the way that some people do push moves. And, they go on strike and things like that. If you think about it, I think Van Dijk really pushed his move to from Southampton to Liverpool so much that I think he ended up not being picked and stuff like that. That's not going to happen with Varane. So United are going to have to pay a fair price. That price is the most important thing. Romano and others have said they expect an official bid to go in this week for Varane. Therefore, I think it will go in. And I think the official bid that United put in will be the bid that gets accepted, because United will not want to put a bid in that doesn't get accepted. And the fee is the thing at the moment. People will say, why don't we put a bid in? Because we don't want to put a bid in for 40 million and then it gets rejected. So conversations are going on at the moment between Real Madrid and Manchester United. And there is haggling going on. Real Madrid would like 60 million euros. United feel they can get Varane for 50 million euros, which is about 42 million pounds, whereas Real Madrid want around 52 million pounds. So there's a little bit of wriggle room there, and I think that ultimately both clubs will get there at some point, because I agree with what Fabrizio said on the show this afternoon. He is the bargain of the summer, and some people don't want that to be the case. But he is the bargain of the summer because he is €100 million signing if he's got 2 or 3 years left on his contract. So with Varane at the moment, United's still working for the fee, and obviously Varane is going to be respectful to Real Madrid, and he's not going to hand in a transfer request. But that deal is there to be done, and we expect that bid to go in this week. So that is the latest with Varane. Camavinga is likely to go to PSG if Pogba stays, says Macarios. You're right. That if Pogba stays for a year, that enhances the chances of Camavinga going. Having said that, and there will be some Donny news, Krishnan. Having said that, yeah, you're probably right. Paras says 25 million plus Dan James for Ndidi makes sense for both the clubs considering they have backups for the positions. Mate, 25 million plus Dan James, that only gets you to about 45 million. There's no way Leicester would let us have Ndidi for that. I think you'd have to give them about 60 million and Dan James, to be honest with you. And look, never forget, the same with Bissouma, is the same with Ndidi, is the same with Zakaria. There's 3 players there that I believe are better than McTominay and Fred. And yet we're linked to none of them. We're not linked to Bissouma, we're not linked to Zakaria, and we are not linked to Ndidi. And they are all good options, but we are not. They genuinely are fan fiction signings, but really. It's a little bit like we all used to say, let's go and get Fabinho. And we were right. Oh, God, we were right. We were talking about Fabinho 4 or 5 years ago. Get him in. He's at Monaco. He can play right back, centre back and CDM. What a player he would be for us. And we were talking about it. And it never bloody happened because we were never really in for him. And he went to Liverpool and he became the player that we thought. And I'd say a similar thing again. Bissouma, Zakaria and Ndidi, they're all the perfect profile player for Man United to bring into the midfield. But we're not linked to any of them. Hi Mark, did you see the latest updates on United Journal on Twitter the past few minutes? Apparently has to return to training on the 21st of July, says Ben McAuliffe. I haven't seen that, but I did know that Varane was due back this week. I thought it would be later in the week than that, but yeah, apparently he is going to be back this week, and I haven't seen any update about that. But look, he's going to be back in the next few days, isn't he? I don't think he wants to. I don't think he wants to go back training with Real Madrid. But who wants that to happen? Who wants that to happen? Mark, how would you have handled the Pogba issue, says Najib? I mean, just before we move on, that's a fantastic question. Koundé is not a CDM, Cabdi, so that can't happen. How would I have resolved the Paul Pogba situation? I've got to be fair to Solskjaer. I think he handled it very, very well. I think at Christmas, when Raiola comes out the night before a crucial game ahead of RB Leipzig and basically says Pogba doesn't want to be here, Ollie's a shit coach, and he will not sign a new contract. That's one of the worst things you want to happen. And Pogba will have signed that contract off. I don't care what anybody says. But I think the way Solskjaer approached it is probably not the way I would have approached it, and not the way many of you would have approached it. But you've got to give him his credit. He handled it perfectly. He sat down in a calm way and said, "Be professional, and we'll be professional to you." Pogba played very well after that until the end of the season, and I think that now, with a year left on his contract, even last Christmas, United were powerless. Pogba's got the power. United should have been looking at a new contract with Pogba probably a year ago. Probably a year and a half ago. But a year and a half ago, he was looking to go. He was going to go last summer, and we were going to get Grealish, and then COVID happened. So I do feel that United have not handled it well, but you could see this was going to happen. Pogba had the power, really. Pogba's got the power. Riola's got the power. And that's one of the worst things you want as a football club. You don't want Mino Raiola in the position of power, but he is. And what are we supposed to do? What about Declan Rice to United, to Sahil? If you've got 100 million quid, we might be able to do it, but I don't think we will be able to do that. I mean, there was a story I just wanted to bring in, because I just wanted to check it this afternoon. Watch the interview with Romano. It's only 20 minutes long, and we spoke about everything, from right backs to centre backs to CDMs to strikers, the lot. And he did mention in there that it's 50-50 for Donny van de Beek, which I've had a few hours to think about that. I'm really worried about Donny going. I think it would be appalling, absolutely appalling, for Solskjaer to sell Donny van de Beek. it wouldn't make me Ollie out, but it would make me Ollie doubt even more, because I'd be like, you sanctioned the signing of a player a year ago. When he's played, he's done well, and you've not been able to get him into the team. I think that reflects badly on you as a coach if you let a player of that quality go, and I think it shows you don't know how to use that player. So I really hope it's not going to happen. But I did see something this morning where they were talking about a Rabiot for Donny van der Beek swap, which is obviously Rabiot's at Juventus. But it was interesting because this afternoon, Romano said that Juventus were looking at making a move for Donny up until their director of football leaving to Spurs. So, you wonder whether Rabiot was part of that. I mean, I don't think Rabiot gets on particularly well with Pogba anyway, so I don't think anything would happen with that. But I do worry about Donny. I do. Do you think we are Champions League title contenders next year, says Rohit? I don't think that sort of chat belongs in the United fan base. We haven't won the Champions League in 13 years, so we shouldn't be talking about being title contenders or Champions League contenders. I believe that we need to be a contender, but I think that's something we need to discover ourselves. This is a team that bottles finals and semi-finals, so we can't trust them to win anything at the moment. But I think with the signings, you've got to start making that next level. And I think Varane makes our defence world class, and I think Sancho makes our attack world class, because I think we had a good defence, and I think we had a good attack, and I think those two players make us go to the next level. And when you've got those sort of things, you've got a real chance of doing something special. But consistency and also not bottling it in the final stages is what's going to be important for United. But I don't think I remember a summer. I remember a summer when we bought Paul Pogba. So 5 summers ago, we bought Pogba, Zlatan, Eric Bailly, and Mkhitaryan, and we had Mourinho as the new coach. And we were like, well, Mourinho wins titles, Pogba's world class, Zlatan, we're going to win the league. And a lot of people thought we were going to win the league. And I just don't want to fall into that trap again. I do want to be patient with this, because as much as things could go really well, and I am hopeful, let's not forget, there's a lot of people in our fan base that think Solskjaer's not the right man. And we have heard this before, he'll be gone by Christmas. So, I mean, I think all I wanted to happen this summer was for United to fill the holes in the team. Centre-back, right wing, centre defensive midfield. If we do fill those holes and we go into next season and Solskjaer fails, he's got to go. But I don't see how he can fail with the quality of player that he's got. So I don't want to set any expectations really high, because we know Chelsea and Man City and Liverpool are going to be good next season as well. So we've just got to get off to a good start. We've got 8 games at the start of the season, and I want us to win at least 7. January, Mino will find out what Pogba is worth, and then Man United will decide to let him go for free or pay more than other clubs. January offer to Mino, says John Sem. And Brandon says, this level of spending, given the Glazers' record, makes me suspicious. With our potential level of spending and as being a business, wouldn't be surprised if the women's budget got trashed for the men, says Brandon. Yeah, but I wouldn't have thought the women's budget is anywhere near, be a drop in the ocean compared to the men's, surely. Solskjaer's new contract will be announced in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Definitely, yeah. I seriously doubt United are looking for a CDM. We're never linked to a true CDM, says Asif. And I read that Donny van der Beek and Martial will be back from injury next week, says Per-Erik Klassen. Yes, Ollie said it yesterday after the game against Derby that Donny and Martial will be back in training next week. I think this week there was talk of David De Gea returning back early as well, actually. I think David De Gea was looking to return early as well. I mean, to be honest, De Gea, he's had a bit of a crap summer, hasn't he? Because he had the Europa League final where he got a lot of stick, and then he's been to Spain in the Euros. He got all the way to the semi-finals, and he was just sat on the bench. So, he probably does need to just get back at United and start fighting for his place, really, because that is one area that we can't. You don't. I mean, you talk about CDM, and CDM is an issue, isn't it? CDM is an issue for Manchester United. It's a hole in the team. We don't have one, let alone 2. It's a problem that we need to resolve, and to resolve it, you've got to buy somebody. The goalkeeping situation is a self-made problem. There is no hole. We've got 2 players, but we're trying to shove 2 players in the hole, and that is going to create a problem. So it's a self-made problem, really. Glenn says De Gea worked out before the Derby game. I don't know what that means. We have not finished with more than 81 points since Sir Alex Ferguson. So if we get 84 points plus this season but finish third, is that good enough for Ollie to stay, says John Sem. I'm a firm believer in points tally. I think points tally is I said that at the start of last season. I do think that points tally is something to address and look at. I think the year before last we got 66. What did we get this year? Was it 73 or something like that? So I was a bit disappointed that we didn't get 75, really, plus last year. I think there was an opportunity to do that. But it's still progression, and I think hopefully we will see some progression next season as well. Talking about progression, I forgot to mention this. Rennes look like they're going to bring in Coop Miners. Coop Miners was going to go to Atalanta, but the deal has fallen through. So Rennes are looking at taking Coop Miners, which obviously means he would be a replacement for Camavinga, who could then move on. So let's see. We got 74 points. A lot of people are saying in the chat. So yeah, we didn't quite get the 75, but we did improve on the 66 that we got the year before. So let's keep going. Mark, what's happening with Vinicius Jr., says Mark Friedman. Thank you very much for asking about that, because I wasn't on the show on Saturday night. Leven did it, and that was when that news was breaking. Why would we want Vinicius Jr.? We've just spent the last couple of days, we had the panel show last night, talking about how many options we've got across the attacking positions. 10, 11 players we've got there. Why would you bring in Vinicius Jr.? Like, it doesn't make any bloody difference. Like, loan move or not, I just don't know why we would be looking at that. So, no, I'm not interested in that deal at all. One deal I am interested in, though, and Fabrizio Romano spoke about this, is that Man United are looking to offer a new deal to Bruno Fernandes, which has been going on for a long time. And basically what he said is there has been talks going on for a while with Bruno Fernandes. No agreement has been set yet, but that's not a dangerous situation between Man United and Bruno at the moment. This is normal that conversations will go on and take some time. The reason for these talks is that, yes, Bruno's only been here for 18 months, but his wages are less than that of people like Juan Mata, Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire, and a lot less than the likes of Sancho, Rashford, Pogba, etc. So Bruno was basically brought in on the cheap wages-wise, and I think he realises that as one of the most important players in the team, his value is a lot more, and United need to offer him a new contract. And let's hope that United get this right, because I think this is an example of where, if we'd done things right with Pogba, then we wouldn't be in this situation now. Bruno Fernandes, correct me if I'm wrong, when we bought him for United, was on I think it was a 4-year deal. He's only 18 months into a 4-year deal. We don't need to sit down and do a contract with him, but 100% we do, because his wages are crap compared to all the other good players in the team. So it's absolutely right that we sit down and we give him a new contract. The only way I'll be able to settle with Van der Beek leaving is if United can get Pogba to re-sign, says Dawel. I still won't. I've got to be fair. There is absolutely no scenario that I will be okay with Donny leaving, because I will not become a Real Madrid fan. I'm not going to be a Real Madrid fan. And I'm not saying all Real Madrid fans are like this, but traditionally they do this. They'll buy a shiny new toy, and then they'll get rid of it and get another new shiny toy. I'm not up for that. I'm not up for that. If United want us to be loyal to our youth and our players that come through, which we are, then I'm going to have a bit of loyalty to some of the signings that we make that haven't been given a chance. I don't want to buy. Our marquee signing of the summer last year was Van der Beek. Our most exciting summer signing last year was Van der Beek. It's been a trash first year for him. I think he's not been implemented into the team properly, and I think when he has played, he's looked really good. Namely, that Wolves game at the end of the season where he was man of the match. If we were to sell him after 1 year, there's nothing that can make me, evaluate that situation and go, oh yeah, I'm on board with that. I think it's a bad decision, and there's no signing. Even if we bought Declan Rice and Van der Beek went left, I'd still not be happy about Van der Beek leaving. I think it shows really bad leadership at the top of the club to buy somebody and not use them, really bad coaching to buy somebody and not be able to use them, and really bad decision making from Ollie to allow that to happen. So I don't want it to happen, and there's nothing that can happen to make me think that I would be happy with that. And I'd argue with absolutely anybody who says that it's right to sell him because he's been a failure, because I don't think he has been a failure. I think he's been let down by the coaches so far. But this happened with Fabinho in his first year. Fabinho in his first year at Liverpool didn't settle straight away. Who's making the matchday squad against Leeds, says Steve Locke. Well, they tell you what, there's going to be a lot of competition for places, mate. Because that squad's big, proper big. And it's a great question because if we've got Varane, imagine it's De Gea in goal. De Gea in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Maguire, Shaw. He'd probably play Fred or McTominay and with Pogba. Sancho off the right, maybe Martial off the left, Bruno, Cavani. You know, that's your team, right? On the bench, you're going to have Henderson, probably Lindelof and, I don't know, Telles. That's 3 of your 7 subs, I think. Is it 7 next year? I don't know. Or is it 9? So, yeah, Henderson, Lindelof and Telles. Either McTominay or Fred, depending which one doesn't start. Probably going to put... You'd expect Van der Beek to be there. That's 5. Greenwood and probably... Well, he'd probably put Lingard there, wouldn't he, I suppose? And then you're leaving a lot of players out. So, yeah, loads and loads and loads and loads. Trippier I don't think would be in by then. But if he was, he would be on the bench. Yeah, that would kick Telles out as well. So we're going to have a massive, massive squad. And people are chucking names out. What was the point in keeping Mata then? I don't see how Mata gets on the bench. But I don't know how Mata and Matic, Joe. Bay as well. Dan James. There's loads of players that won't get near the bench. But I don't know how many bench players you can have this year. Can you have 9 again or is it 7? But we've got a huge squad. Absolutely huge squad. Yeah. I'm from Norway and saw him be the manager of Molde. He's my favourite, says Charlton. There you go. Ollie in. Good, good. Has Joel Glazer had any work done on the stadium, says Ruth? I think he's painted it a little bit. Not personally. Who's our backup cam other than Bruno? I mean, proper cam, says Half-Blood Prince. Pogba can play there. Donny can play there. I think Ollie sees Donny as that, to be fair. I think that's the position that Donny is meant to play. But Bruno was overplayed, wasn't he? So I think we have got a cam. Not forgetting, you've got Mata still at the club. You've got Sancho can play that role as well. Ahmad can play that role. We've got loads of people that can play that role. Absolutely loads. And Pogba can play that role, as I said. So loads and loads of players. You can't just give Mata a new contract and then not use him. Winning the League Cup won't end our drought, says Rohit. I don't think winning the League Cup's even that easy. Man City seem to win that every year. Pogba in the 10 would be crazy, says Adius. I think Pogba could play very well in the number 10. I think you'd miss out on a lot of what his strongest qualities are, but he can definitely play that role if we needed him to. And Sancho can play there as well, says Charlie as well. Yeah, Lingard can play that position, but as I said, I would sell Lingard. I just don't see why we would want to keep him when you've got so many options there. Shoretire can play there. Christopher, I would hope that he gets a loan. If we don't get Varane, do you think Sule would be a good... Oh, no. God, no. I can't stand that, Sule. However you pronounce it. I mean, I know he's meant to be very good, but... did you see him in the game against PSG? It was like watching Tyson Fury play at centre-back. He was so slow in the sprint. And I'm not saying Tyson Fury's, well, as a centre back in Champions League football, I don't think he'd be very, very quick. Mark Lingard or Dan James, says J Lings fan. I would sell both, to be honest. I think we can afford to sell both. Can you say, come on, you addicts, says Charlton fan. Well, I know who the addicts are now, so thank you very much. Hannibal will probably go on loan as well, but Hannibal can definitely play there. I mean, ideally, we are stacked in the number 10 position. You've got Bruno, who's the number 1. If Bruno gets injured or loss of form, you can play Van der Beek there. If Van der Beek gets sold, you could play Mata there. You could play Pogba there. And you should then have, with 4 options, you should also have a young option as well. So I would like to see Hannibal there as well. So, yeah, let's see. We need to remove Deadwood, says Banksy. But, the Deadwood, Banksy, we've been meaning and needing to remove the Deadwood from this squad for... years and years and years, and we're just not good at it. And I don't even think it's an Ollie thing, really. A bit of an update from Varane, just coming in from a tier 2 source, AS in Madrid. They're saying Varane wants to complete his transfer to United before the end of the week so that he can travel directly to Manchester to join United's training directly and does not have to return to Madrid to join pre-season. As I said to you many a time, Manchester United, Real Madrid, Rafael Varane, big week. Big week. Romano said it himself this afternoon. Very big week for Manchester United. And yeah. Mike says, change your shirt, it's smelly. Well, it is very hot today, but this shirt I had on for Romano a few hours ago. I didn't have it on this morning. So, and if you want to get one of these t-shirts or any of our other designs, we've got Sancho, we've got Bruno, we've got Martial, we've got Rashford, we've got all sorts. Links in the video description. And I'm getting through a lot of these. I'll have a different one on tomorrow, that is. Lingard swap for Trippier or Camavinga. I mean, Lingard's not going to go to Rennes or Atletico Madrid. Jesse just wants to make TikTok videos with Sancho and Pogba. Need to do what's best for his career, says Pisco. And, you know, we'll see what happens with that one. We'll see what happens with that. Bid's going in tomorrow, says Charlie. How often do you change your bed sheet, says Alex. Depends what I'm doing in there, doesn't it? Talk about the women's team. Nope. I'm not going to talk about the women's team because I'm not educated on the women's team enough to talk about the women's team. I don't follow the women's team, so I don't really know anything about what goes on in relation to their performance and everything like that. But what I do know is that they're part of the Manchester United family, and they're not being treated very well by the Glazers when they're not getting the facilities that they deserve. And that is just another poor reflection on the ownership of this football club. Yash says, I believe Van der Beek was bought as Lingard replacements. That's why he might stay if Lingard goes. But Mark, do you think Rice Basuma can play as a single DM? I have not seen them play as a single DM at all. Yash, you might want to watch West Ham from last year, because that's the position that Declan Rice played for West Ham, and Souček had the freedom to get forward, and that's where he scored goals. And in the last few weeks, if you've watched England play, Declan Rice was the holding midfielder, with Phillips getting licensed to push forward further. So Declan Rice definitely can play CDM, because that's what he does for West Ham and England. As for Basuma, Basuma is probably more of a pivot, playing a 2, and he definitely has the attributes to push forward, but he can hold the midfield as well. So yeah, they're both more suitable to the role than those 2 players that we used last season. McFred. Love you, babes, says Notorious Nerd. Thank you very much. And I hope you having a good day, Mark. Weather is fantastic, says Mustak. And I would be a lot happier if I had a swimming pool. That's the only problem. And Sabitzer, says Dan, what do you think is going to happen with Sabitzer? He's not a consideration for United. We won't be buying an attacking midfielder. Tell you what I worry about. I think United fans at the moment, we're on like this high of Sancho and Varane. But of course, that's because nobody else has done anything. I wonder how high that high will be if Man City go and buy Kane and Grealish, or if Chelsea go and get Haaland and Rice. I mean, imagine that. Imagine Chelsea get Haaland and Rice, and City get Grealish and Kane, and we get Sancho and Varane. Ultimately, who's had the better transfer window? Well, you can argue till the cows come home about that, but the reality is Man City were already way ahead of us. They've just bought 2 really good players in. We've bought 2 really good players in. Chelsea brought 2 really good players in. How are we going to close a gap on those teams when they're already better than us and they've bought in 2 good players like us? So this summer transfer window has still got a lot to go. And I don't think Chelsea will get Haaland and Rice, and I don't think Man City will get Kane and Grealish. But what is important about this transfer window is that we come out of it with a better transfer window than Man City and Chelsea, because they're the teams that we're going to be trying to compete with this year. You can't compete with them if you don't actually do better business than them. Sancho, the next Sanchez, says 58 go. No, don't agree. Don't agree with you on that one. McTominay should be sold instead of Donny. Well, McTominay, Fred, they're not going to get sold, and I don't think Matic is either. Undertaker's better than Kane. Not often you see that on a Man United fan channel, but there you go. Mark, we finished above Chelsea. They have to close a gap on us. I know they won the Champions League, but we still finished higher. Oh, come on, Red Devil Marley. Think before you type. We finished 2nd in the league. It's the first place loser. don't think you've got a moral upground on Chelsea because we finished second and they finished below us. They were very close to us at the end, and they had half a season with a crap manager. So I don't think we can really honestly sit here and say we're better than Chelsea because we finished above them in the league. They won the bloody Champions League, mate. Do you think they give a shit that they were a few points behind us? But they won the Champions League. And they had half a season with a manager that wasn't very good. So I think Chelsea have got the momentum, and they will be a very, very worthy opponent for us next season. I think Kane will end up at Chelsea. Imagine what a force they'll be with him, says Punnett. I don't think he will, but I think he would be brilliant for them. And Gary Turner says, why don't you do a weekly women's team hour show? I think it would grow. Well, we can put it to the task. I mean, the thing is, I don't think that it would. I'm open to it, but I don't think that it would. We've had this conversation before. I don't think there's a lot of people that interested in talking about the women's team, but we could trial it. That's what a fan channel's for. And thank you very much for the idea. Just had something there. And we've got another update from Spain via MUFC MPB. Varane will be a Man United player in the coming days unless there is an unexpected twist. I mean, you know what? We are getting to the point now where it really is just twisting and turning of the story, isn't it? I mean, Varane is expected to be a United player this week unless there's an amazing twist. Oh, you know what? Breaking news. Varane's going to sign for United this week unless something goes really weirdly wrong. But we know this. We know this. We've been speaking about it all day. The point is, United have got to agree a fee with Varane and with Real Madrid. That's what needs to happen, and I think it will. For me, Sancho papers the cracks for United. Your main problems are the midfield, right back, and goalkeeper. I think Sancho is a... Hello to the Jamaican viewers. Gregory has asked me... Well, hey, hello to all our viewers. Let us know where you're watching from, by the way. We've always done that over the years. So let us know where you're watching from. And hello wherever you are. I hope we've got some Indonesian massive in as well. I always remember the Indonesian crew. I don't know what time of the day might not be great for you, but I know we get people watching in from all over the world anyway, which is absolutely fantastic. We are a global fan channel. But I think with... there was that question there before about about Sancho being, not the priority. I think all of us United fans can sit here and say that he wasn't the priority this summer. He was a luxury signing in a sense. Welcome to the Members Club, Austin Noel. But we all wanted Sancho last summer and we didn't get him, so we're getting him this summer. And he's a fantastic player, and he is a player that's going to make us better. But if I'm absolutely honest, was right wing the priority coming into this summer transfer window? No, centre back and CDM were. So I'm very happy that we're going to get a top class centre back, and I'm very happy that we've got Sancho. But he is a bit of a luxury signing because he's not actually the priority. But he will make us so much better on that right hand side. Shantanu says, do you think Rashford would have broken into the first team if it was Ollie and not Van Gaal at the time? Do you think Ollie is good for our academy? I think Ollie... I think that's a great question because obviously I'm very pro Ollie, and I suppose I am Ollie in, although I do have doubts. I'm certainly not Ollie out. Another season with no CDM forwards will starve, says Suham. But I do think you make a great question, and I would ask the people in the chat as well. Do you think Solskjaer is good with the youth? Because I think there's this reputation that he is. And look, again this week, he's got a training camp, and he's got Garner, he's got Hugel, he's got Show Retire, he's got Hannibal, he's got Palestri, he's got all these young players, and there is this it's almost, if it wasn't Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the truth would be out there. If this was Mourinho, he wouldn't get a load of love just for having a load of young players training. It would be, well, he's only doing that because all his first teamers are away, which is the truth. I don't think Solskjaer's record with the youth is very good. And I'll explain why. I think he wants to develop youth, and I think he knows the importance of the youth, and I think we do recruit youth, and I do think he gets the youth to train with the first team, and he's done that, and that's absolutely fantastic. But ultimately, all those things are great, but if you're not going to give them first team opportunities, then you're not good with the youth. And I look back at the greatest there ever was, and people always talk about the the summer when Hughes, Ince and Kanchelskis went, and it was shocking. And we lost the first game of the season against Villa. And Alan Hansen says you won't win anything with kids. And you had people like Beckham and Butt and Scholes and the Nevilles playing, and obviously Ryan Giggs. But those players had been bled into the team before that season. You know, Beckham had played Champions League football. Nicky Butt had played Champions League football. Gary Neville had. They'd all been playing games before that breakthrough season. And I think they'd been playing for a couple of years, some of them. In fact, Nicky Butt might have been playing for 3 years, maybe even longer. Scholes as well. They had been brought into the team and trusted way before that breakthrough season where they were told, right, this is your first team slot. And I don't think Solskjaer does that enough. I don't. I think that Greenwood is a Solskjaer player that's been given opportunities, but Greenwood's a generational talent. Anybody would play him. Brandon Williams was given a bit of opportunity and then last season was totally ignored. Twan Sebi, chances he's had are appalling. So I think Ollie needs to do more with these youth players. And I put my hand up here and say, you know, will it be that important if we win the league? No. But I don't see next season being a good season for United youth again. Where is a United player going to break through next season? We are stacked. We've got 25 senior players. 25 senior players. That doesn't include any youth players. Where is a youth player going to break through this season? Do you see any of the current up-and-coming youth making it big in the coming years? And if so, who, says Ross Gleeson. I think the best thing for these young lads to do is get out on loan. Yeah, get out on loan. If you are Hannibal, if you are Palestri, if you are Garner, if you are Williams, Twan Sebi, Mengi, anybody else, get out on loan. Because I don't see how you're going to get near the first team in the next 12 months. And can you afford to have a year just training with the first team? So, yeah, it's going to be very difficult for young players to get through. So they're going to have to be loaned out. But in general, I like Ollie, but I don't think he gives youth enough chances. And maybe that's because of the pressure he's under. We saw that last season. And I suppose the next question is, why does Ollie not give chances to the youth? And I think we saw that last year. He was going to lose his job. In October, we were talking to Pochettino, and what did he do? He went on an amazing run, but he kept using the same 13, 14 players. He didn't go beyond that. He didn't try anything out. He didn't give Van der Beek a game. He didn't give Williams a game. He didn't give Twan Sebi a game. He stuck with the players that he wanted to go with, Magaluf, McFred, and they ground him out results because he needed to get results because his job was in danger. So I don't think Ollie has the freedom to actually do what he would like to do with the youth either, because he always knows that a few bad results and his job's in danger. Do you think we should loan Ahmad and Palestri, says Scott? I wouldn't loan Ahmad. I think he's first team ready. But I think Palestri, one of them's got to be loaned, and I would loan Palestri, Scott. Yeah, defo. Can you say to my sister with cancer, good luck with your recovery, says Ben Smith. Yeah, and I think everybody in the live chat would agree. To Ben Smith's sister, I hope you recover well and are resting up well, and our thoughts and prayers are with you as well. Mark, when do you think we will bid for Varane, Aidan? Oh, I think it's going to happen this week, Aidan. I do. I think it's going to happen this week. I think I said this at the start of last week that I think Varane's return from holiday was going to escalate things, and I think that it will escalate things. The fact that he should be back training with Real Madrid this week, or later in this week, or early next week, means that United have got a few days to get on with it. You need tactics to play youth, which Ollie lacks, says Sam. Can you call me a Pratt, please, says Talal. You're a Pratt, Talal. What would your 25 squad look like then, says Fred the Red. Mate, that is a show in itself. I can't sit and give you my 25-man squad for next season because that's a show. That's a show in itself, and it's a good show, to be fair. Mark, if we get Varane, says Ananjaya, even without the CDM, we'd be good enough to win the Champions League, probably not the Premier League. I don't know, mate. I don't. I mean, so what are you saying? If we pick, if you've got De Gea in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Maguire, Shaw, and then your front four is Sancho, Rashford, Bruno, Cavani, you can still win the league and the Champions League if you play McFred. I disagree, because you basically got two teams there and nothing in the middle. So you've got to have a team that's got Pogba in the midfield if you want to win the title. But can you play Pogba in the midfield if you haven't got a CDM? I think we might see McTominay given a role there. Look, I'd love Scott McTominay to become a world-class CDM because it's just saved us a load of money. I think we need to try that experiment sooner rather than later. Him or Fred need to be given that role, because if we're not going to buy somebody, we need one of them to step up to the plate. I don't believe they can do it. I don't think they can do it. But if they can do it, let's get Pogba next to them and let's see if we can do something. Because we've got a lot of quality and we've got a very good defence now. We're not going to concede many goals next year, and we can score a lot of goals. But we've got to get that midfield to protect the back four and also feed the attack. And that's where we went wrong last season. We didn't create enough chances last season. Darren G's going for a skinny dip with the misses. Well done. Watched Sir Alex Never Give In yesterday, and I'd say Ollie is not yet that mentality and belief and confidence as a manager himself, says Akshay. I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is anywhere near the level of a Sir Alex Ferguson. I don't think many people are, but I also don't think they've got the same managerial traits. Sir Alex Ferguson was vicious. I loved him. He was brilliant. He was like the most petulant, that's my ball, I'm going home if I'm out. He was absolutely focused on winning. He was nasty about it. He was aggressive about it. He was passionate about it. He was, he'd have a tantrum with the referee. He wore his heart on his sleeve. Absolutely, moulded me as a kid into a man. That sort of competitive element. So much of that was learned. Ollie is nothing like Sir Alex Ferguson. I don't know why he even thinks he is. I don't know why anyone thinks he is. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a nice guy. We had Teddy Sheringham on the show a couple of weeks ago, and he said, I was surprised Ollie went into coaching. I think he's done fantastically well, but he's one of the nicest guys you could ever meet. A fantastic family man and a nice guy. And Sir Alex Ferguson's a fantastic family man. That's nothing to do with it. But the nice guy bit, I don't think Sir Alex Ferguson was a nice guy when it came to winning. I think he was like an aggressive bear. He was angry. He was dominating. He did moan. And he did moan in press conferences and after match reactions and on the pitch. And Ollie's not that. They're not comparable. As manager styles, they are not comparable. And I don't know why people compare them. I think Sir Alex Ferguson is one of the greatest sports managers there's ever been, if not the greatest. And I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is in awe of him. But he needs to step out of that, because he's never going to be him. He doesn't have the personality to be him. And he doesn't have the background to be him, because Sir Alex Ferguson broke Scottish football with Aberdeen. And he rebuilt Man United from top to bottom after 25 years without a title. So Sir Alex Ferguson is never going to be what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is never going to be what Sir Alex is. And he doesn't have the personality. And Ollie has said that. He said, look, I'm not the sort of person that's going to have a tantrum on the touchline. I believe in taking, having a bit of professionalism, etc. And people took that he was having a dig at people like Pep and Klopp and Mourinho. But I looked at it and went, well, you're actually having a dig at the greatest manager that's ever been, your idol. So Ollie can't be that, and he shouldn't be. And therefore, don't compare him to Sir Alex. Does Ollie believe Matic can do a year if Varane signs? For Steve Locke. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I've seen it floating around a bit today about Matic and how, a lot of people writing him off. I've written Matic off before. I said he was done. I said he was a bag of cement, and I said he was done. And he came back and he had a really good second half of the season before last. So look, Matic is the best CDM we've got. I personally think he's past it. I don't see how people cannot see the evidence that he's past it. Last season, he didn't get picked over McFred. I mean, God, if that's not an indication that you passed it, then what is? And let's not forget, Matic retired from international duty as well. So he can't be complaining about being tired or injured. He just didn't get picked. So, But, if you had prime Matic, he'd be the best CDM we've got. Definitely. Kamara from Marseille says Red Devils. Again, another player that we're not even looking at. And I tell you what, anyone who thinks that Lindelof can play at CDM, I'll say this. Crap in the air, physically gets bullied and very right-footed. Why would he make a CDM? I just don't know why people think things through. Fernandinho is 37, going on. Matic is all right, says Marley. Yeah, but Wayne Rooney was finished at 28. You can't compare people. You can't say such and such is 37, so Matic is fine. Have they got the same mum and dad? Have they got the same genetics? Are they? Has Matic been a big part of winning a Premier League side? No. Doesn't matter. There's no comparison to that. Absolutely none. You can't say Fernandinho's 37, so Matic is fine. Absolutely nonsense. Absolute nonsense. It doesn't have to be Sir Alex to win, says Paul. No, he doesn't. He's got to be his own man. He's got to be his own man. You don't, you know, we all love a passionate manager on the touchline who's kicking buckets and everything like that. We all love that because we relate to that. Don't have to be that. You can be the man that wins the title with a smile on your face, and I hope he is. I really do. Matic was a huge part of 2 titles for Chelsea. Yeah, you're living in the past, Michael. I'm telling you now, I don't think Matic can do it anymore, and I hope I'm wrong. Thanks everyone for watching. Smash a like on the video. Exciting week ahead. Hopefully we're going to be going live at some point with an official bid for Varane. Should Lindelof leave if Varane joins, says P.N. Philip. No, you need backup. I'm more than happy for Lindelof to sit on our bench. You know, this is where I would put McTominay and Fred. I don't want to sell them. I just want them on the bench. And I'm more than happy for Lindelof to stay. Great show, Mark, says Gregory. Great show to all of you lot. Really enjoyed it. It's very, very hot. I'm sure it's very hot where you are, but I've really enjoyed the chat. It's flown by as ever. And thank you very, very much for that. Michael, I don't think I said Matic was never any good. I don't think I've said that. If I did say that, then that was a slip of the tongue. I've never said that. I think Matic at Chelsea was fantastic. One of the best CDMs in Europe. So, and he had he's been okay at United at times. I don't think he's ever hit the Chelsea heights, but I don't think he will now. I wish he was that player from Chelsea. Thanks everyone for watching. Smash a like, make sure you subscribe, and if you haven't seen the Romano interview, it's on the homepage. You might have been at work or school or whatever. Check it out. Very quick interview, talking absolutely every player that we've been linked with and players going as well. So check that out. And if you want to get your t-shirts, your link's in the video description. Thanks for watching. Speak to you all soon. Take care.